to invite the Minister. Minister Kampyongo would like to invite you to give a press briefing to the nation.
Thank you so much, Director. Thank you. And let me start by acknowledging your presence, representing the two permanent secretaries of the ministry. I also acknowledge the few ministry government officials with us here and distinguished colleagues from the press. Good morning.
Good morning.
I welcome you to the Ministry of Home Affairs for this short briefing, and at the end of the short briefing I'll be available to respond to your points of clarification and indeed a few questions that you may wish to pose to me. I want to start by just expressing our displeasure as Ministry of Home Affairs on the manner in which members of the United Party for National Development, UPND, are reacting following the summoning of their leader, Mr. Intimidation, to appear at the police headquarters for questioning. Dear colleagues from the press, government is aware of the mobilization by a few UPND supporters currently taking place in some provinces, and their intention through this mobilization is to cause chaos and instability in the country. It is a well-known fact that this agenda is being organized by a few known individuals with a view to obstruct police investigations and subsequently stand in the way of justice. Zambia is a democratic country with a governance system premised on the rule of law. Every individual suspected to have committed a crime should be answerable to the law enforcement institutions without any interference. We all know that in our country, no one is above the law, and the law enforcement organizations should be respected by all citizens. And certainly, political violence shall never be entertained to influence the course of justice in this country. So, dear colleagues from the media, the appearance of political leaders before the police and other law enforcement agencies such as the Anti-Corruption Commission, Drug Enforcement Commission, and others is not a new phenomenon in Zambia. And it's not only happening during the reign of my government, because this has happened before during the reign of the previous government. You will recall that the former Republican president, Dr. Frederick Chilua, may his soul rest in peace, appeared before the courts of law for a prolonged period of time. No one obstructed the investigations and the court proceedings until the outcome of the court cases were determined by our competent courts. Some of our serving ministers have appeared before the Anti-Corruption Commission, and their cases were heard in the courts of law. No supporters were entertained to protect the ministers from appearing before the courts of law, to allow the wheels of justice to prove the allegations leveled against them. Other former cabinet ministers are still appearing before the courts of law on various charges, and no one is allowed to interfere with the court proceedings. There is no one who is going to intimidate the police for them to fail to execute the professional mandate assigned to them by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. I will repeat, no one is going to intimidate the police for them to fail to execute the professional mandate assigned to them by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. And so government is going to do everything possible to ensure that the police service is supported to enforce the law without fear or favor. This is the only way that citizens will be guaranteed of protection and safety by its government. Dear colleagues from the press, let me also seize this opportunity to caution our members of the public as we enter Christmas period. The police service are directed to work closely with the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RTSA, in providing joint motorized patrols across the country. This is to ensure that the traveling public are protected from accidents that can be avoided. All motorists are warned from overspeeding due to improved road infrastructure across the country, and also cautioned to avoid drunk and driving, which is the main cause of the most traffic accidents during such festivals. And we have recorded a large number of lives that have been lost out of these accidents. In a similar manner, members of the public are warned from gathering in large numbers during Christmas festival to avert the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Cases of coronavirus have been recorded to be on the increase in other countries, and this should be used as a warning to all of us to adhere to health regulations. Let's continue observing social distancing, avoid unnecessary movements, washing our hands with soap and clean water, and always face masking, because it would appear now we have dropped guard and people are just moving about. But we heard from the minister responsible for health that there are new cases that have been recorded. And so the Minister of Home Affairs during this period shall work in collaboration with the Minister of Health to ensure that regulations meant to avert the spread of COVID-19 are enforced. Joint foot patrols between the police, Zambia Police, the local authority, and the Minister of Health shall be conducted indiscriminately. I wish you, our colleagues from the media, and the entire public a happy Christmas and a prosperous 2021. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. It's now time for you to ask questions or clarifications where you were not clear. Tell us your name and in the house where you're coming from. Time for questions? Yes?
In line with what you've said, Honorable
Your name
Minister,
and in the house where you're coming from?
I'm Simon Mundemba from the Daily Nation. We saw some PF supporters in Southern Province that were attacked by the UPND for putting on PF regalia. What is it that your minister is doing to ensure that the people that are not supporting UPND, that you're doing that, they are protected in that province?
Another question? Yeah, you can ask.
I want to get your
name?
Your name and
Patrick
the
Soko.
house.
Patrick Soko from Kamit
Patrick
TV.
Soko.
I want to get the position of the minister regarding lawlessness that has been taking place in Chawama constituency, especially at the bus stop area, where there's even a street called Katondo being supported by people claiming to be your members. So I wanted to find out what action is being taken regarding that.
So is it Chawama bus stop?
Yes.
Another question? Yes, please.
Good morning once again, Honorable Minister. My name is Isaac Sonika from Pan African Radio. I have two questions that are a bit away from the issues we've addressed this morning. First of which is on MMD President Nevas Mumba's arrest in the Congo. I'd like to find out from you, as Minister of Home Affairs, which ministry supersedes the Department of Immigration. Is there a particular procedure that opposition leaders or politicians of such nature have to go through when they travel to other countries? And then the other issue is on the UPND social media cadre by the name of Larry Mweto, who was deported from Livingstone to Botswana. Now I'm made to understand that we have issues of dual citizenship in Zambia now, so it's become, it's looking a little bit odd, and people are wondering why is he sent back to, why is he deported when Zambia is consent to issues of dual citizenship.
Do we have another question?
Yes, my question, Honourable Minister. My name is Arnold Kasama from the NBC. My question hinges on the escalating levels of political violence. As we draw towards the 2021 election, what measures is government in line with the police service putting in place to ensure that we quell possible violence during the elections?
We may first allow the Honorable Minister to attend to the 4 questions. Thereafter, again, we'll still give you back the chance to ask some more questions.
Thank you so much. Honorable Comrade Simon from Daily Nation, you asked about the members of Patriot Front who are alleged to have been attacked for putting on political regalia. First of all, for democracy to thrive, we must have a safe environment everywhere. And this safe environment is not only supposed to be guaranteed by the law enforcement agencies as in the police service. Us as citizens, first of all, must be the ones to embrace peace and appreciate the spirit of coexistence, because it's the multi-party politics that we have embraced entails that if you are a political party to run the affairs of the country, you must have presence in all the 10 provinces. That's what we have chosen for ourselves. Now, if you want to think you can only be in one province as a political party or supporters of a particular political party, and you don't want to embrace others, you also will need to be present in other provinces. The danger of those attacks in Monze, Southern Province, on political party cadres is that what will happen to cadres belonging to this party where the attackers of these PF members will be if in the areas where they may not be strong. So to the citizens, it's important that we understand that aspect first, because that action can trigger other reciprocal actions which will culminate into a full-scale violence. And that's what we don't want to see. So it's important that our citizens are sensitized on the need to coexist. However, the police have picked up that matter, and investigations have been instituted to ensure that the perpetrators of that violence are brought to book, so that we avoid this situation that I'm alluding to, which will make other members start reacting in the same way, which shouldn't be the case, because we are a multi-party participatory democracy now, and we must allow parties to exist in all the corners of this country. So the police are looking into that matter, but it's important that you, our colleagues from the media, also find a way of helping in sensitizing our people to appreciate coexistence. Patrick Soko, you talked about the lawlessness in Chawama and happening at a bus stop where people are supposed to board and disembark from the buses going to different areas peacefully. And so we have taken note of that, and police have been informed. We had a meeting with the leadership in Chawama constituency and the district from the Patriot Front to find out who was behind that lawlessness which seems to be taking place in Chawama. But I want to assure you, and through you, the people of Chawama, that very soon sanity will be restored and the order will be restored in Chawama constituency. Thank you very much. Isaac Sansoneka, you were asking about the arrest of Dr. Nevas Mumba in the DRC. Very regrettable development indeed. We as government obviously were concerned when we received that report. And I think frantic efforts were made through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to ensure that the government got to know what was happening to Dr. Nevas Mumba. But ideally, a person of that status, Dr. Nevas Mumba, is not just an ordinary political leader. He is a former Republican vice president. And so he still has that status. And so it's just befitting for him to ensure that when he's exiting the nation, he makes formal notifications to the Minister of Foreign Affairs so that the necessary protocols and courtesies are accorded to him wherever he's going. That cannot be facilitated if there is prior engagement, and so that the missions are in those countries where he's going are informed and they know how to look after a man of that status. Now, there are so many questions that have been raised, and of course he himself has confirmed to you, the media, what transpired to him and how he was how he ended up in the hands of the security wings of the DRC. Our advice is that it would be important that Dr. Nevas Mumba tones down on commenting on these matters, because we have got formal channels of communication between the government of Zambia and the DRC. We have what we call a joint permanent commission on both politics, defense, and security, where we exchange information. And so through those channels, we are still in consultations. And even Dr. Mumba's fate back home will depend so much on the information that will come from the DRC, because the allegations that were leveled against him are serious allegations that may have security impact on Zambia and DRC. And mind you, we enjoy a cordial relationship, cordial bilateral relationship between Zambia and the DRC. So we cannot allow those relations to be soured by just acts of one individual. So for now, it's important that everybody remains calm until such a time when consultations will be exhausted through the formal channels. It will be premature for me to make detailed comments on that predicament that Dr. Nevas Mumba found himself in. But it's a matter of interest, especially for us from the security cluster. We certainly need to know exactly what transpired, what the reasons were for that kind of reaction from the DRC. So I've already spoken to the procedure that is required of the people of high standing coming out of this country going elsewhere, and the need for them to make formal notification to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who then should ensure that their movement is facilitated in the foreign countries. The other question was about Mr. Rari Mwitwa, who is claiming to be deported. The correct position is that he was not deported. Deportation is done under this minister's hand. In short, a warrant of deportation for any foreign national who is undesirable in this country is signed by the Minister of Home Affairs. So the minister doesn't remember signing any such a warrant. And I want to also make it clear that as minister, I don't micromanage the operations of my agencies. Even as we sit here, there are so many people coming in and out of the country in various borders, airports, who are arriving different times. So our immigration department and the other security wings that are present at borders have got a duty to play. So they determine who should come in and who should not come in. And so the gentleman, of course, was denied entry. Probably that could be the right term. He was denied entry into the country for reasons known by the security wings, and I'm told this gentleman was coming in as a British national. And it must be understood that whether he's got roots in Zambia, the fact that he's a British national, he's a British national, and he was traveling on a British passport. So the authorities at the entry point were dealing with a British national. And that's how it was. But on one hand, as Minister of Home Affairs, I'm aware that this gentleman, through the police, we would have loved him to come, because we have citizens who have got complaints against this individual, bordering on criminality. And I only got to know about some of these complaints because some of the complainants, one of the complainants is a member of parliament for Dundumwezi, Honorable Singombe, who was swindled money by this individual and other people. And the complaint was at Matero police station. So if I was asked, maybe I would have loved him to come so that these people could have had time to interact with him. And I was surprised to see in the media that he was coming to participate in voter mobilization. That's not permissible. He's a British national, and even no foreigner is allowed to participate in local activities of such nature. So let's not do things out of ignorance. And you spoke to the aspect of dual citizenship. Dual citizenship is a process, and it must be conferred through the procedures. So you don't exercise dual citizenship on assumption. It doesn't work. So if you're a British national who wants to enjoy the Zambian citizenship, you must apply. And the due process will be followed. And I'm speaking to you because I sit to chair the citizenship board. And we have processed a number of cases from the United Kingdom, some of them bestowation of citizenship for those of our citizens who could have lost citizenship under the old Act and the Constitution, which didn't provide for dual citizenship. And I don't remember this gentleman appearing on any of those lists of British nationals who have applied for dual citizenship. So he doesn't enjoy that status. And so if he was coming here to engage in politics, it's an illegality, and he can be arrested and prosecuted. So if it is a wish to acquire the dual citizenship status, he must apply following the laid down procedures. And he can go to the mission in the United Kingdom, where he will be given the procedures to follow in order for him to apply for dual citizenship. So as far as I am concerned, he was a British national who was denied entry. And maybe probably the issues I've alluded to, which are still pending, which he needs to come back and clear, could be the reasons, but I don't have details as to reason why they denied him entry, because that's what they do on a daily basis. Mr. Kasama, you posed the question on the issue of political violence. I did mention in one of my responses that democracy cannot thrive where there is peace, not as a catalyst, but as a prerequisite. So the peaceful environment is a prerequisite for democracy. And so we as a ministry responsible for maintaining law and order are doing everything possible to ensure that our law enforcement agencies, the policing service, is ready to police the forthcoming general elections. Some of the measures include in-service training in order to freshen up our officers and capacitate them. Those that are already serving are being subjected to in-service training programs in all the 3 training schools. We are also looking at the possibility of beefing up the numbers, should resources permit, in order to have a reasonable number of officers to police the general elections, so that our people are given an opportunity to register and vote peacefully, which they've done. And I must commend the collaboration between the police service and other institutions working with the Electoral Commission of Zambia by ensuring that there were very few incidents of violence that were reported during the registration process, despite the acts of non-patriotic Zambians, who we have seen going to parade children and coach them to say things which children are tutored. Some are given the audacity to cross borders, to go at the border between Zambia and the Republic of Malawi, to parade people there and make them make utterances that were bordering on criminality. And some of the culprits are being pursued in order to probe such matters. Others have been parading young children and give them NRCs belonging to elderly people as a way of discrediting government processes of identifying citizens and conferring citizenship on their people. Such culprits won't be tolerated. They will be pursued and made to face the full wrath of the law. So we are doing everything possible to ensure that elections are held in a peaceful environment, just like the ones that we have had before. These are not the first elections we are going to have, neither are they going to be the last. So it's important that we continue being a peaceful nation we have known to be. And we are not going to allow a few disgruntled elements to disturb this peace that we enjoy. As a ministry, we look after what we call people of concern, refugees that have run away from other countries to come and search for sanctuary here in this country. We wouldn't want our people, Zambian people, to find themselves elsewhere as refugees because peace has escaped. So that's a responsibility that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia is committed to, and those of us who are serving under him have got an obligation to ensure that this country remains a peaceful country for the generations to come.
Do we still have some more questions? Any more questions?
Maybe just one away from this. Read on social media where this former PF cadre American is being pursued. What is the status?
Which one?
American something, Kalimanshi.
Look, I think the political parties are clubs where members join willingly, but members have an obligation to follow the rules that are set out in any particular political party. The party PF has got rules. Those who exit the party and want to come back, they have to follow the procedures that are laid down. So anyone who claims to be a member of Patriot Front must be a law-abiding citizen. Must be a law-abiding citizen. So you are not going to engage in lawlessness and use the party to shield you. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You heard me say no one is above the law. People have been prosecuted and people have been sent to the correctional facilities. And when that is happening, no one looks at what political jacket you put on. So for any member who wants to be a member of PF must be a law-abiding citizen, because we won't tolerate any individual to break the law and use the party as a shield. No. That's why I was saying, even as much as we don't feel happy as government, the president doesn't take pleasure in seeing his own cabinet ministers being taken to the law enforcement agencies and later on to the courts of law. But he's one person who has said, look, if there are allegations leveled against an individual, it's important that through the institutions that are established, these people are given chance to be cleared or to be convicted of those allegations. The reason why he does that is to ensure that everybody understands that we are here to serve within the confines of the law. The authority that is deposited in us must not be abused. And so it goes down to each member, if senior members of the party can be made to account for their actions, why shouldn't be an ordinary member be made to account? So that's my response. If you want to claim to be a member of Patriot Front, you must respect the institutions of the party. You must respect the leadership of the party across board. You can't just say, no, me, I only respect this one. It doesn't work. It's a family where rules must be observed. So we are not going to tolerate indiscipline, and those that break the law enforcement are encouraged to act and act decisively without looking at this political status. You have seen a number of people that have done wrong things and have been made to account, and the party has acted. A recent case of a former provincial chairman who misconducted himself at the police station was made to go to the courts of law, and the party acted by suspending to say we are not encouraging illegalities. That's how it is going to be in the party. So that's my response to your question, Mr. Kasama. We want to also create an environment where, as you, the media, are able to freely discharge your functions. When people have appeared in the radio stations, it's interactions. People must be mindful of the language they are using, even those that are hosting them, so that the language is not offensive to attract negative reactions which can culminate into physical confrontation. But that also is not justifiable. If someone says something that you don't believe in, you don't react by being physical. You can also use the same platform to counter what anybody could have been saying, which you feel is not correct. So it's important that the violence that we're talking about is dealt with in all the fronts, so that every Zambian is able to exercise their freedoms, fundamental freedoms that they are supposed to enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. You have answered all the questions adequately. Allow me just to thank my colleagues from the media for coming at a short notice. The ministry still look forward to working with you in 2021, and we should enjoy the Merry Christmas ahead of us.
I also just want to end by wishing all of you a peaceful Merry Christmas, and obviously a prosperous 2021 at personal level and at family level. You are busy just like all of us, but please find time to be with your family, as even short time. Let the family appreciate you. Don't say, no, I'm going for an assignment all the time. You are following the Minister of Home Affairs, but you are welcome to come to the village in Shwangandu where we shall be spending Christmas. But just to wish you all the very best through this festival period. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.